Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Morphology of Flowering Plant, and today in this video we will cover part 2. Now let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 1997. Heterospory and seed habit are often discussed in relation to a structure called as dash. Okay, so we have four options here: path, petiole, bracket and ligule. Okay, the right answer is ligule. Before that, heterospory, that is the development of the seed habit, and the ligulate leaves are important features of Selaginella. The reproductive structure of Selaginella is strobilus. A strobilus has a main ligule which is called as sporophylus, and two types of spores are produced during the megaspore of, that is, one will be the mega and one will be micro. Megasporophylus and microsporophylus. So ligule, if you see, it is nothing but the small leaf-like structure. Okay, how does it resemble like? It's a small leaf-like structure, or you can say it's an outgrowth that is seen in the base of the leaf. So I will show you a picture of how it is. So this is how it sees. So can you see this part? This is the ligule. Okay, so it's a small leaf-like structure, or you can just say it's the outgrowth that is seen at the base of the leaf. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D, ligule. Next question here. So the next question is, proximal end of the filament of stamen is attached to the dash. Okay, so where is it attached? You should know what, you should know what the answer is, because we already discussed about it. So what is a stamen? How do we describe a stamen? The stamen is the male reproductive organ of a flower. It produces the pollen. The stamen will have two parts. One is the anther and the other is stalk. Okay, now the proximal end of the filament of stamen is attached to the thalamus or petal. Okay, where is it attached only is the question here. The proximal is attached to the thalamus, where the distal end will bear the anther. So the proximal end is attached to this, and the distal end will have anther. Okay, so this is just a variation. So all you need to know in this question is, where is stamen? The stamen is a male reproductive organ of the flower which bears the pollens. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option D. Now moving to the next question here. Perigynous flowers are found in dash. Now what do you mean by perigynous flowers? Okay, we'll first discuss that. See, perigynous flowers are where the hypothenium, that is the floral tube formed from the fusion of the stamen, petals and sepals, will be attached to the respectable below of gynoecium and surrounds the ovary. The ovary, if you see, it is the superior, and the free parts of the petal, sepal and stamens are attached to the rim of the hypothenium. And usually the examples which come under this are rose, then you have peach. All these are examples of perigynous flowers. So apart from that, you also have hypogynous and perigynous. Hypogynous is where the sepals, petals and stamens are attached to the respectable below the ovary. Okay, and epigynous is where the sepals, petals and stamens are attached, or it arises from the top of the ovary, from the hypothenium inserted above the ovary. So here you just need to differentiate. What you need to know here is, the ovary is half inferior when it comes to a perigynous flowers. Okay, where the hypothenium, that is the floral tube, will be formed from the fusion. So the floral tube, how are they formed? They are formed from the fusion of stamen, petal and sepals, right? So where it will be attached to the receptacle, it will be below the gynoecium and it will surround the ovary. So here the ovary is not just a superior part, it's just a part of the system. So perigynous flowers are found in rose. Okay, ovary is partly superior and partly inferior. That is the meaning of perigynous flowers. Okay, yes. The next question here. Axial presentation are present or is present in dash. What do you mean by axial presentation? See, it is the arrangement. Okay, so to explain more about this, axial presentation are where the ovules are borne at the ovules. We are talking about the ovules. They are borne at or around the center of a compound ovary on the axis formed from joined septa. So when we generally talk about the word placentation, we always resemble the arrangement of the ovules in the placenta and the placentas in the ovary. Okay, so axial presentation is present in what? It is present in lemon. In multi-ocular ovary, when the placenta is axial, the ovules are attached to it, and that is called as axial presentation. So you can see how the axial presentation takes place. This is how it is seen in a lemon. Next question here. When the margins of sepals or petals overlap one another without any particular direction, the condition is termed as dash. This question was asked in the year 2014. So here, if the margins of the sepals or petals overlap with one another with any particular direction, and this is called as imbricate, which is option B. Okay, what is it called as? Imbricate. What do you mean by imbricate? A general thing. See, imbricate, the common meaning is, you can simply say it's the arrangement, or you can talk about the overlapping this thing. Okay, so what does imbrication mean? It is the overlapping especially of successive layers of tissues in the surgical closure of a wound. So that is an example that I would like to highlight here. Okay, so when we talk about, so here if you see, they're talking about the overlapping only, where the margins of the sepals or petals overlap with one another, but they don't have a particular direction or a condition that they follow. And that is termed as imbricate, which is option B. So here they've given you an example as cassia and gulmohar. These are some of the examples which have this imbricate arrangement. Okay, next question here. Among bitter gourd, mustard, brinjal, pumpkin, China rose, lupin, cucumber, sun hemp, gram, guava, bean, chili, plum, butania, tomato, rose, withania, then you have potato, onion, aloe, and tulip. How many plants have hypogonous flowers? Now, what do you mean by hypogonous? We just now discussed in the very first question of this video, where we spoke about perigynous, where we saw the ovary is partly superior and partly inferior. Now, we are talking about a system where we are talking about hypogonous. So what do you mean by hypogonous? I told you what is perigynous. Now, so here they are having the stamens of other floral parts situated below the carpels or gynoecium. Okay, so what is hypogony? It is where in flowers the condition which the calyx, corolla, and the stamens are inserted on the receptacle or the axis below or free from ovary. So this is the meaning here. So now coming to the answer, but you need to know this, otherwise you'll not be able to answer, because if I just simply tell, you will not understand. So mustard belongs to Cruciferae, brinjal belongs to Solanaceae. They're talking about the families that they belong to. Okay, so now if you see here, how many belong to this? I mean, the overall group that is given here, just count. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You have about more than 20 plants, 20 things that are given here, and you need to find out how many are hypogonous. So here if you see, 15 are said to be hypogonous. Okay, so here they have mentioned here, guava has epigonous flower, rose has perigynous flower, and while bitter gourd, if you see, bitter gourd, guava, all these have epigynous. So how many have hypogonous? If you see, it is 15 out of the 21 here. So it comes to be mustard, brinjal, China rose, bean, potato, tomato, all these belong to hypogonous. While if you take guava, then you have cucumber, rose, all these don't come under hypogonous. Okay, so the answer to this question is option B. Okay, next question here. So we have a set of flowers now, and we need to identify, okay, how many plants have corolla with valvate estivation. Okay, so again we have a set of flowers here: calotropis, tulip, sesbania, asparagus, colochine, sweet pea, eutania, indigofera, mustard, soya bean, tobacco, and groundnut. How many of the plants? So what do you mean by the term valvate estication? Maybe we need to talk about that. It's called as Valvet. First we will talk about valvet. Okay, valvet means we always resemble to the sepals or other parts. Okay, having adjacent edges abutting or abutting rather than overlapping, so they don't overlap. So what do you mean by the term astification? What do you mean by the term estivation? So estivation means, in terms of botany, it is the arrangement of the petals and sepals in a flower bud before it opens. Okay, and the answer to this question is option. What do you think will be the answer here? The answer is 7. Okay, so here if you see Colotrophus, Tulis, Asparagus, Colchine, Eutania, Mustard and Tobacco have this valvet estivation, while sweet pea, groundnut, soybean, Indigofera, Cispinia have Westley estivation. Therefore the right answer to this question is option 7. They do not overlap. Okay. Okay, in the next question, in a Simoes Inflorescence, the main axis is dash, and this question was asked in year 2013. Okay, inflorescence in family Fabaceae is found. So I've given you the clue. Where do you find this inflorescence? It is found in the Fabaceae family. Okay. Okay, now coming to in Simoes. In Simoes they have given in particular. In Simoes Inflorescence, the growth of the main axis will be definite because the growing point of pedicel is used up with the formation of a flower. So further, if you see, the growth of the flowering axis is continued by one or more lateral branches, which also ends in flower. Okay, so I've given you a clue. Okay, so how is it seen? In Simoes Inflorescence, the growth of the main axis is definite because the growing point of the pedicel is used up by the formation of the flower. So here it will not continue once the flower is grown. So it will terminate in the flower, in a flower. Therefore the right answer is option A. Next question here. Inflorescence in racemose is in dash. So in just now I told you, right, in inflorescence is a family of Fabaceae. For example, soya bean, all these comes under it. Now when I say soya bean, it is a racemose. Okay, inflorescence in the family list, you have other families also which come under this. You have tulip and all that. But what do you mean by inflorescence in general when it comes to in botany terms? How can you how can you actually talk about the inflorescence? I'm talking in terms of botany terms. See, the complete flower of head of a plant including stem, stalk, brackets and flowers. The arrangement of the flowers on a plant. It is a process of flowering. So you have different types of inflorescence. We have spike, we have catkin, we have spadix, we have corium, we have umbel. So we have many types actually. So I'm just mentioning a few. Spikelet, then you have catkin, then you have raceme. So raceme, and obviously when the pedicel bears many pedicellate flowers in an acropetal manner, you have different arrangements when it comes for this. So when you talk about inflorescence of racemose, it comes for soya bean. Inflorescence in Lycaceae is also there, where you have in tulip, and inflorescence in the family Solanaceae is also found, where brinjal is solitary accessory and Simoes as in solanum. Therefore the right answer to this question is option A, soya bean. Next question here. Presentation in tomato and lemon is dash, because we just now spoke about it in the earlier question. When we started with the video, we saw the lemon has axial, therefore it works for tomato as well. Okay, parietal is found in mustard, free central is found in they have given you primula as an example, marginal is found in pea, and axial you have in tomato, lemon and China rose. Okay, next question here. Simoes Inflorescence is present in dash. Okay, we just now spoke about it in the earlier question, where we spoke about the different types of inflorescence and how is it seen in the plant. We spoke about the arrangement and all that. And Simoes Inflorescence, where we saw for particularly solanum. Simoes Inflorescence is same as of determining or indefinite inflorescence, in which the tip of the main axis will terminate in the flower and they further grow continuous by one or more lateral branches, which also behaves like the main axis. That is the only difference. It doesn't terminate but continue to grow. Next question here. The gynoecium consists of many free pistils in a flower of dash. So what do you mean by gynoecium? It is a female reproductive organ of a flower, right? It's a female reproductive part of a flower, and that is termed as gynoecium. It is said to be syncarpus of used in tomato. Therefore, the answer is Michlia. Okay? Where they are asking which consists of free pistils. Free pistils are found in Michlia. How many plants, okay, how many plants in the list given below have marginal presentation? Okay, I'll give you the answer so that you can analyze. Marginal presentation is a presentation with ovules borne on the wall along the ventral suture of the simple ovary. So that is the meaning of marginal presentation. So how many have out of that? So we have gram, arhar, sun hemp, moong, pea and lupin belong to the Fabaceae family, and they all bear the marginal presentation. Therefore, the answer is 6. We have 6 out of the rest there. Okay. Next question here. Flowers are more zygomorphic in dash. See, when a flower can be divided into two similar halves, only one in particular vertical plane, and then you term it as zygomorphic. What do you mean by zygomorphic? You are cutting it into two halves, but only one particular vertical plane. Okay. Only in one particular vertical. I mean, you can cut it only in one direction. You're not able to do it in any axis, any plane. So that is called as zygomorphic, and the examples which come under this is pea, gulgumor, and you have bean, etc., which come under this. Therefore, the right answer to this question is gulmohar, which is option B. And this question was asked for you in 2011. With this, we complete the part 2 of Morphology of Flowering Plant. Hope to meet you in the next part of the same chapter. Thank you.